Manoj Jasra, I just started a new role actually, a senior manager of digital intelligence at WestJet Airlines. It's kind of Canada's version of KLM or Southwest, really community focused kind of West airline. I also blog at Webanalytics World, a blog I started about 5 years ago. So Webanalytics World started in 2006. At that point, I had a couple of years under my belt in digital marketing, more SEO and paid search, and we were actually developing web analytics software at the agency I was with. And because I was transitioning to a role in web analytics completely, I wanted to become a thought leader rather than just do my kind of 9 to 5 thing. So I started with article writing, where I used to post on the Web Analytics Association and different blogs, our own company blog, and then I just started publishing these articles on my own blog. It was at a blogspot address, manojasra.blogspot.com. 1 year later, there was a lot of interest and engagement there, so I started blogging more often, and now 5 years later, I'm at 1,700 posts, and I blog almost every day for kind of between 11 and 12 p.m. Got to get that post out there, so that's kind of the history of Web Analytics World. I think it's just the community aspect has changed me a lot in terms of where to go for knowledge. I think that's become really important to me. When I started Web Analytics World, it was important for me to figure out who are the key players in the industry. So obviously you had Avinash and Eric doing their thing. So I think it was important for me to develop an interest in what they had to say before I kind of started my foundation, because they had already built up a rapport with a whole bunch of folks to begin with. So I wanted to make sure I was at their level in terms of the implementation and their practitioner knowledge before I started my own thing. The rumor is correct. I'll probably be selling it within the month. The reason being, there's a lot of opportunities in terms of side projects that I'd like to take on. Web Analytics World has been kind of very successful for me in the last 5 years. It's really developed me as a thought leader, and it allows me to speak at conferences like this Web Analytics Congress I'm at in Amsterdam right now. But I think it's time to move on, and I've got some side projects I like to work on, some iPad apps, some websites, and I think this should be a lot of fun later on. I think the role before it at Shaw Communications prepared me the most for it, because WestJet, like Shaw Communications, they're two very large organizations, and with Web Analytics, we've also always had the concern with how do we promote ourselves, how do we get buy-in for Web Analytics. So working at Shaw has really prepared me for WestJet so that I can say, this is Web Analytics, this is what it does for a company, and this is how it's going to help us really bring revenue online. So that has really prepared me in the last couple of years here. Multi-brand analytics is something kind of very new age, so it's going to be very difficult to kind of just throw our code on their site. But I think the back-end integration becomes really important. How can we capture some of the data so that we know what interest our audience has when they're going to their site, what kind of offers we can give our customers? I think that's really important. So it's going to be a lot more of a offline integration of data effort versus an online web analytics tagging effort.
How do you think you're going to gain insights for content purposes, as WestJet doesn't do, for instance, long distance flights, and American Airlines does? Is there how could you possibly approach this from a content perspective?
I think what you do is you just take it back to the foundations of web analytics. Like, the data there is going to be similar to our data. Obviously, it's going to be more international. So we can simply take the learnings that we've got developed in the North American environment and look at it internationally. The top content. We can look at search results. We can segment that data by traffic from WestJet to that other site and really make kind of solid decisions based on that data.
And from a political standpoint, what kind of challenges are you thinking of running into when incorporating data from two companies at such a granular level?
That's a challenge. I don't know what's going to happen there. It's so early. The American Airlines decision was just kind of, I think, announced about a month ago. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I think the only way both of the companies are going to succeed in both like the local and international market is going to be some exchange of data. I'm looking forward to obviously the new set of data to work with, but I think as a company, WestJet is really known in Canada for its kind of really the social part of it, the community part of it, the fact that everyone at WestJet is an owner. I think that's really important. So I'm looking forward to those aspects about WestJet. I think it'll be really interesting to see what a user does on that property versus what a user used to do on Shaw Communications. So I think that'd be really interesting to me. Yeah, so a few friends of mine and myself launched this app called Josh and Emma Go to the Beach. It's basically a children's story for kids ages 1 to 3. Some interaction, some animation with the characters there, the two characters, Josh and Emma. And right now it's kind of a learning project. We almost have about 10,000 downloads. It's a free product on the iPad. We're available around the world, but the insight we're noticing is that you'd think that US would be the most people who download it, but it's actually people in China which are downloading it the most. So it seems like maybe we can morph this app into more of a learning app of English to more of the Asian countries. I think that should be really interesting. So hoping that if we get a few thousand more downloads, we can launch version 2 or do some more levels to the current version. One other project I'm working on is called localdealspot.com, and since the local deals is really popular in Canada, I've worked with this team in India where I outsourced the entire project, and they created this mashup for me. So it combines the most popular deal sites, so Groupon, Living Social, Deal Find, all those sites, and I basically become an affiliate there, and you make a little bit of cash by sending people to those various sites. I think the biggest concern we right now is how do we compete with the 50 other sites who are doing with this. So I think organic search and optimization becomes really important, and the whole branding aspect of it. So when people think local deals, they think local deal spot, not Groupon, which can be tough to do. The balances come from you always put family first. Like my job is to obviously work at WestJet or Shaw where I used to work at, come home, definitely spend as much time as I can with the new baby girl Rhea, put her to sleep. I'm the one who gives her a bath every day because I think it's important bonding time, and then obviously during that time spend time with my wife, make sure they always have time on the weekends, and then that slot from like 11 to 12 p.m. or 11 to 1 a.m. that's my kind of slot to work. And I know it's late nights, but I'm only 30 years old right now, so I might as well get it in while I can, right? That's how I balance things.
All right, well, thanks a lot for the interview.
Thanks for having me.